Sometimes you don't even have to know how learning happens, because learning installs itself, like a seed that doesn't need to understand the sunlight to stretch into the sky. And you may begin to wonder now what happens when someone begins forgetting what they thought they knew in order to remember what they really are. Because when you focus on combining all of these ideas, beliefs and concepts and installing them unconsciously as your new belief system and operating system, something inevitable begins to happen. And you can notice that now. Imagine you're standing in front of a mirror. This mirror doesn't show flaws, it shows freedom. It reflects who you're becoming, not who you're pretending to be. And the moment you say, I'm enough, I accept myself, you notice the mirror smiling back. Because when you say it, and you hear it, and you feel it, you begin believing it, even before you think you do. And what would it be like to already be living as if that belief were true? And it is, isn't it? While part of you hears this, another part can already be installing the structure of inner confidence, like software updating silently in the background, as you go about living your life. Now imagine a voice gently, familiar, whispering inside, you're worthy, you deserve love, you're allowed to feel joy. And you already are it. And that voice, that tone, that resonance, it begins to override the old recordings. Because every time that voice speaks with kindness, another critical echo fades. The patterns that once reinforced doubt now become the pattern interrupt, that awakens power. And the pattern becomes the new pattern. And the pattern that becomes automatic is the pattern that makes all other patterns obsolete. And the best part, it's already happening even now, even as you listen, even as you wonder if it's working, which means it is. Now drop into a world where every breath is a permission slip, every thought a vote cast for confidence, every feeling a compass guiding you home to self. You wake up, not to your day, but to your design. You're no longer reacting. You're responding with intention, with awareness, with the knowing. You're the chooser, the creator, the calibrator. You're the architect of your operating system. And each time you say, I'm the kind of person who loves myself first, you become that person. And as an identity grows stronger, louder, truer, the world begins to echo it back. Consider this, a bird doesn't fall because it's broken. It falls because it's learning to fly. And every stumble is a signal a message, and every message says, you're on the right path, adjust, grow, try again, because failure doesn't exist, there's only feedback. And if that were true, and it is, then every mistake is just another masterclass in becoming. And the more you respond to feedback with curiosity, the more resilient you become. Because resilience is not something you do, it's something you remember, a memory awakening in your bones. Have you noticed some people, they walk into a room and shift the energy? Why? Because energy is magnetic. Emotion is the signature of your broadcast. When your signal says, I'm confident, loving, real, the world can't help but respond in kind, because people, they don't respond to reality. They respond to belief. And the belief you hold holds the power to reshape the world that reflects back at you. So when you walk in certainty, certainty follows. When you lead with authenticity, attraction happens naturally. You already know this. Happiness, it isn't a place you arrive at, it's a path you choose. And mastery isn't a goal, it's a process, a rhythm, a devotion. Daily gratitude becomes your compass. Self-affirmation becomes your nutrients. Breath, presence, silence become your superpowers. And you develop the identity of someone who loves themselves deeply, not by chance, but by choosing it again and again until the choice becomes effortless. And by then, you've forgotten the old way of being, because it no longer feels familiar. And why would it? You've outgrown it. Let me tell you something interesting. Reality isn't solid, it's fluid, like light bending through glass. And your focus, your feelings, your frame, they all bend, the beam of experience, until the world shows you what you already believe. So when you believe you're enough, the world confirms it. When you act as if you're worthy of love, love shows up. Not as a gift, but as a mirror. When you decide, I don't chase, I attract, I don't strive, I radiate, you stop needing, because everything begins responding to you. And just like that, you've already begun installing the new OS. You know, the one where self-talk becomes your ally, emotions become your guides, confidence becomes your compass, joy becomes your fuel, growth becomes inevitable, connection becomes effortless. Because you're no longer trying to believe. You're living as if it were already true. And that's the trick, isn't it? You don't change by force, you change by remembering who you are. And maybe you already are. Or maybe the part of you that is, has always been. And the more you forget who you are supposed to be, the more you become who you really are. And that changes everything.